fellowship, about connecting with people. What intrigued me initially, and I want to talk about three things today about building relationships, developing relationships, and nurturing relationships. I'm not going to do a verse-by-verse exposition, but I want to talk more dynamic today in the sense of when we think about fellowship, most of the time we think of fellowship with people that we are comfortable with. People that usually fit our fancy, somebody that we feel comfortable with, somebody that we know, somebody that, you know, they make us feel good about ourselves. But if you look at the earlier parts of verse number 7, it's intriguing what we see in the text. And it talks about how Jesus said that he began speaking the parable, invited guests. When you notice how they have been picking out places of honor at the table, saying to them, when you're invited by someone at a wedding feast, do not take the place of honor, for someone more distinguished than you might be invited by him. The problem with many of us in fellowship and in relationships is that we want to be more important than we really are. So we usually try to fellowship with people that will make us feel better about ourselves. It's really not the problem with somebody else. A lot of times it's the problem is with us. The problem that we deal with is us. We have not come to a place to be all right with who we are. And until we get okay with who we are, it will always be hard to develop real relationships because we're always looking for the seat of honor. The place is going to get me the most PR. The place is going to get me the most hype. The place is going to get me the most attention. The place is going to get me the most FaceTime. But beloved, that cannot be what we are all about if you're going to have authentic fellowship. Then if you read on down to the end of this passage, it talks about the people that you ought to invite, the people that are not so cool. And the text starts talking about people crippled, who are lame, all of these maladies. Most of the time, we don't want to hang out with people who have problems. We want to hang out with the other crowd, the crowd that can invite us back, the crowd that's going to make us look good, the crowd that's going to make us stand out, because some of us, we have allowed ourselves to be defined by the people that we hang with. I wish I had some help. Some of us, we think that the person that we are with make us who we are. But you're really just a man next to the man. And you're really not building a relationship. You're just using that as utility because you believe that if I'm hooked up with them, that makes me special. And sometimes you are not really special as much as you are the flunky. I wish I had a little talking here. Wish I had somebody to talk. So we start to look at this text, and Jesus starts to lift this perspective out about who you ought to be trying to hook up with and the people around you and why you need to be careful. We ought not always be looking to try to get in a place of honor. We ought not always be trying to look for the high seat. That's all. My dad used to tell me this. He said, son, it's best to be invited up rather than invited down. See, that's why you have to be careful of stepping into a place thinking that you are somebody fabulous, gone with the wind, fabulous, that kind of person. Be careful of that because you really don't know just what the implications might be, because if you get in a spot, then they're going to tell you, you need to move because somebody else is more important. First of all, if you're going to build the right relationship, you need to be authentic. You got to be who you are. And people have to learn to accept you for who you are. Most of the time, people are not like 60 to 70 or 80% of what you tell them. But you have to know this, that 100% of the time, you can't worry about it. Y'all missed that. 60 to 70%, they won't really care. They won't really like what you're going to tell them. But you have to already know that 100% of the time, I'm going to be good that you don't like what I'm going to say, but you'll appreciate me being who I am. Building relationships is when you come to the table authentically yourself. So when you look in this text, it says, when invited by someone, do not take the place of honor. That means this person is going in trying to appear to be someone that they are not. And sometimes it's what we do. I mean, we think that we always have to be in the VIP section. We don't like to be in GP, general population. We want to be in VIP. We want them to believe that we are somebody special. But see, when you are confident in who you are, not arrogant, but confident in who you are, you can start to develop real fellowship, because relationships will become authentic. They will become real, because people will know every time you step on the scene, you're always going to be the same person. And see, they don't have to worry about at church, you speak to them, but then you get in the community and then you act like you don't know them. And that does happen at the church. Some people will wave at you in church or shake your hand in church, but then when they get out, they act like they don't know you. Well, that's not how you build fellowship. And God has blessed us to have so many wonderful ships to be in, friendships, relationships, all of these ships to be in. And you just have to know how to fit in the ship that the Lord presents you. You have to know how to fit in. So first of all, in building relationship, it's about authenticity. Being the same person every single time. And when you're the same person every time, you don't do what happens in verse number 8. You don't go looking for the place of honor. You don't go trying to find a special seat. You know how some people walk in and they'll say, okay, you know I'm so-and-so, where's my seat? I guess it's over there.